Good afternoon, YouTube. This is Zach, the Tobaccinator, back here with the Odd Man Chronicles, and I am an odd man. So, to go over what we talked about, answer my question, or I guess a few people answered my question on my last video about hobbies. The general consensus was pipes, obviously. But a lot of people said hunting and fishing. Now, I like both of those. I really do. Fishing more so than hunting, because with fishing, I can sit, be nice and peaceful, smoke a pipe, and just let the fish come to me. And the best part about fishing, you can do it in the summertime with the nice heat, or you can do it in wintertime and go ice fishing. I have the gear for both. Well, okay, sorry. I should state I have the clothing for both. Working on getting the gear. Because, in all honesty, who wouldn't like to sit smoking a pipe in a nice shack with a little heater going, a little propane heater going, and just sitting there for 8-9 hours fishing with your pipe? Go out with a buddy. I'd go out with Chris the Rambling Dilettante, because him and I could definitely spend a day smoking pipes and fishing. Mostly because it'd just get us out of the house. Chris doesn't even like fish all that much, to be brutally honest with you, if I remember correctly. Now, a couple other ones that were interesting was Chris mentioned rope dart. For those of you that don't know what rope dart is if anybody's seen Mortal Kombat, it's what the yellow guy Scorpion uses as a get over here tool. There's a lot more complexities to that, but again, and I could never in a billion years try that because, well, I'm not coordinated enough, unfortunately. I mean, I'm barely coordinated enough to walk down the street, let alone try and whip a hunk of metal on a rope around me. Jeez. I'd end up in the hospital. I could guarantee I'd end up in the hospital trying to screw around with one of those. Of course, the nurses would probably blame my diabetes for me being in the hospital again, even though I'd probably have, like, a rope dart knife sticking out of my shoulder right about here. No, it's definitely your diabetes. If you didn't have diabetes, you wouldn't have a rope dart in your shoulder. No, ma'am, I think if I wasn't screwing around with a rope dart, I wouldn't have a rope dart in my shoulder. Now, what was another one that I saw? BMX. BMX was a good one. I believe that was Samuel Olson that said that. And again, BMX, something I think I did a little bit when I was younger, when I was a kid. Actually, I vividly remember doing it as a kid. Mostly because the BMX track at my hometown, I wiped out going up one of the hills and my dad had to come pick me up off of it. Now, again, BMX, another very competitive sport. Except, again, I couldn't do it nowadays. Heck, I couldn't even do it in my teenage years. One, I was too fat, and now I'm a cripple. Yeah, now I'm a cripple. So I mean, I don't have the ankle strength for that at all, or the coordination. Now, Mike Gans, He's a pastry guy. Him and I could definitely get along in a day because I love baking. I love decorating. I could spend all day doing that. And plus, I mean, I'm a diabetic guy who likes diabetics. We're horrible people because we like sweets and it'll kill us slowly. Speaking of sweets, that's why I think I enjoyed this mixture that Chris had. That I think I've just pretty much stolen the jar from him at this point. This berry cobbler. I smoke about a bowl or two of this a day. Actually, I'm smoking it out of the cob that I was gifted, and the other one I like to smoke it out of is my new pipe. This right here, oh, this right here is my new pipe. Beautiful Church Warden. Now I believe Everett is actually quite jealous of this pipe right now. He wants to steal it from me. I think. If I ever get another Church Warden, I'll send this to him. But that's going to be a ways down the road. Now on to today's subject. I said a little earlier, I'm a cripple now. And you know, that gets me thinking, I don't know about you folks, but for me, I get thinking late at night. Late at night, you just start thinking about random things, right? And I thought to myself, what is the cost of my living? Like, I really don't mean like food or clothing, shelter, stuff like that. I literally mean, what is the cost for me to live? Like my medication. Like things like that make you wonder about like I wonder, like, for me, I did the math, and for me just to live for a year, it's $5,000 in medication and monitoring systems. $5,000. That's just to live. What about other people? Like other people's medications that are so much worse than mine. Like people that have diabetes, like I do. That's $5,000 in diabetes meds. I haven't even counted on top of the new heart meds I have to get. And the heart meds and the new stomach meds that I have to get. So that's that. And again, it's just to live. For other people, what are their costs? Like how do we as a society figure that it's okay to charge people outrageous amounts of money just to live? I mean, again, I'm not talking about feeding yourself. I'm not talking about clothing yourself. I'm not talking about keeping a roof over your head. Again, those are needs that you need to live, but I'm talking if you do not have this substance, like I myself need insulin. If I do not have that substance, I die. How do we as a society charge people outrageous sums just to live? Like it baffles me. It's just something I was thinking about last night. And it makes you wonder, on top of that. It makes you wonder why do people pick up drugs? And I'm not talking about like prescriptions. Well, I guess there's prescriptions as well, but I'm talking about you start to understand why people turn to alcohol or turn to methamphetamine or heroin. You start to understand that people are trying to escape from this shitty life that they have into some sort of semblance of relief. I myself, like I did the whole depression and anxiety downward spiral when I was diagnosed with diabetes. I'm not, and I understand it. Like I went through a phase of drinking heavily and partying. I never did heroin. I never did meth. Nothing went up my nose, but I was doing the party drugs like MDMA and um, I did ketamine, like the stuff that the ravers use, right? Mushrooms, smoked a lot of weed, and again, I'm not saying it's a good choice. Like it was a very destructive time in my life, and it wasn't healthy. Like, it wasn't healthy mentally. It wasn't healthy physically. For those of you that don't know, I used to be a 320-pound person. 320 pounds, and now I am 147 pounds. Well, with this water weight that I have on right now, I'm probably about 180. So that's just something for people to think about. So like, what is the cost of living in the world today, and how? I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of talking about that just because it just makes me think, right? So that's my thoughts for the day. That's what I'm gonna leave this chapter on today. I just want you folks to think about that. Now, for today's question, I want to know. Let's leave this on a happy note. Let's leave this on an awesome note. Actually, I want to know, what's your favorite kind of vehicle? Like, what's your dream car? I myself, I want the 1979 Falcon Coupe GTXR. For those of you who don't know what that is, it's the car. It's the Mad Max mobile. So, until the next chapter, I will see you later.